happened a few hours ago. Meaningful silence between Jimin and Jungkook, discussed. A few hours ago, the attention of BTS fans was again drawn to a simple but meaningful moment involving two of the most alluded-to members, Jimin and Jungkook. Without official statements, without exaggerated gestures, only a brief silence that actually gave rise to a variety of interpretations. Interestingly, this moment was not only talked about in ARMY global circles, but also became a hot topic in various entertainment communities and media. The moment occurs in between their activities that take place in a closed and quiet. In the outstanding visual cut, Jimin and Jungkook appear to be in the same space, but with almost no dialogue. There are no big smiles or flashy physical interactions, just short sentences and gestures that seem to understand each other. For longtime BTS fans, a situation like this is actually considered a form of emotional closeness that is difficult to explain. In Japan, discussions about this moment appeared on Dare forums, entertainment media comment columns, to the K-pop fan community. Many judged that the closeness between Jimin and Jungkook reflected the maturity of their relationship after years together under the public spotlight. Some Japanese entertainment analysts even say that this kind of silence is often stronger than deliberately designed interactions. A number of Japanese fans also highlighted the body language of the two. The way Jungkook stood in a relaxed yet alert posture, as well as Jimin's calm and restrained expression, were considered to show a long-established sense of mutual trust. The discussion developed not as a negative rumor, but rather as a reflection on the dynamics of the two idols' friendship that has grown together since. Not a bit of this historic moment with BTS's overall journey. After a busy time, industry pressure, and growing global attention, minimal interaction like this is seen as a sign of emotional stability. In Japan, some comments mentioned that Jimin and Jungkook look unnecessary to make. Until now, there has been no official statement from the agency or from Jimin and Jungkook themselves regarding the discussion. However, it is precisely this lack of clarification that keeps the discussion going in a positive and respectful tone. The fans chose to appreciate the moment as a natural part. In the midst of an entertainment industry that is often filled with sensation and excessive narration, the silence that occurred a few hours ago became a reminder that not all stories have to be conveyed through words. For many fans in Japan and around the world, this brief moment between Jimin and Jungkook was enough to show a strong, mature, and nonetheless strong bond. At the end of the discussion, the attention of the Japanese public was also drawn to the reaction of international fans who chose calm and mature thinking. Instead of fueling excessive speculation, many soldiers actually regard the moment as a form of nonverbal communication that can only be understood by those who have walked together for a long time. This view found wide support in the Japanese community, who were known to have a high appreciation of implied meaning and comfort as emotional expressions. Some entertainment watchers in Japan have suggested that BTS appeal, particularly Jimin and Jungkook, no longer lies solely in their stage performance or global popularity, but rather in their genuine stance in any situation. Even when the camera is not actively panning, every movement and stillness has meaning for the public following their journey. This discussion also evolved into a reflection on how the relationship between BTS members has gone through various phases, from an energetic adolescence to industrial pressures to a calmer and more stable stage of maturity. In this context, the silence that occurred a few hours ago is seen as a symbol of that transition. Not distance, but rather a form of closeness that no longer requires external validation. Interestingly, a number of comments from Japanese fans said that this moment actually strengthened the image of Jimin and Jungkook as human figures. They do not always have to appear cheerful or express themselves in front of the public. Sometimes, silence and mutual understanding are much more honest than words or gestures. In the end, the discussion in Japan about meaningful silence between Jimin and Jungkook ended with a similar conclusion. Comfort is not an empty thing. It is filled with a long history, mutual trust, and maturity that is formed over time. A fleeting moment that may pass you by, but leaves a deep impression on those who witness it, both in Japan and around the world. In the end, the moment of silence that occurred a few hours ago between Jimin and Jungkook became more than just a piece of time that passed. He became a changing symbol about how two individuals who have walked together for a long time no longer need so many words to understand each other. In a fast-paced world full of demands to always perform, silence is precisely the most honest space to show closeness. The discussion in Japan places this moment in a broader context, not as a separate incident, but as part of a long journey that has been built since the early days of BTS. Many observers consider that Jimin and Jungkook are now in a phase where the presence of each other is enough to give a sense of security. There is no need to attract attention, no urge to create a dramatic moment. Everything flows naturally. The silence is also seen as a reflection of emotional maturity. After years of being under the global spotlight, facing high expectations, and the pressures of the entertainment industry, a calm and restrained demeanor shows strength that is rarely realized. In it, stored trust, understanding, and history that cannot come out in just one scene. To the eyes of Japanese fans, this moment feels close to their cultural values, that not all feelings have to be explicitly expressed. There are stronger emotions when left implied. A short gaze, a comfortable distance, and a respectful attitude become a separate language that can only be understood by those who really want to. Furthermore, this moment reminded the public that Jimin and Jungkook, despite their status as global icons, are still human beings who grow, change, and learn together. They don't always have to appear cheerful or full of expression in front of the camera. Sometimes, sobriety is the purest form of honesty, and that is precisely what touches many people. Without an official statement, without clarification, this story was allowed to go its own way. And maybe it really should be. Not all moments require explanation, not all comforts need to be solved. For fans, the silence is not a sign of distance, but rather proof that the bond that exists has gone beyond words. In closing, this meaningful silence between Jimin and Jungkook will be remembered as a small but memorable point in their long journey. A reminder that in the midst of the world's spotlight, strong relationships are not always seen from laughter or lively interactions, but rather from the calm that is maintained. In that silence, they showed a maturity, sincerity, and togetherness that continues to endure, inspiring many, without even having to thank a single word. And when the spotlight slowly subsided, that moment of silence remained in the memory of many. Not because of the size of the gesture displayed, but because of its ease. Amid a world of entertainment that often demands overexpression, Jimin and Jungkook bring something rare, a calmness that doesn't. The discussion in Japan eventually led to a common understanding that relationships that have passed through time are not always marked by physical closeness or warm public conversation. Sometimes, the most real togetherness comes when two people are able to be in one space without feeling the need to fill every second with words. The silence itself speaks enough. For many fans, this moment is a reminder of BTS' long journey built not only from great achievements, but also from small details that often go unnoticed. A brief look, a calm demeanor, and a comfortable distance prove that the bond is mature and solid, even when not approached. Over time, this moment may pass and be replaced by other news. But for those who witnessed it, the silence between Jimin and Jungkook will still be remembered as a symbol of unwavering trust and togetherness. He became a reminder that strong relationships do not always need to be shown, just felt. At the end of this story, the Japanese public and global fans agreed on one thing. In silence, Jimin and Jungkook actually showed the most human side of themselves. A calmness that does not demand attention, but leaves a deep impression. And perhaps that's where the real power lies, when no words are spoken are